Life is good.
Here with my man Ryan.
What's up?
How are we doing, brother?
We are doing well. Life is wonderful, man. That's why we're here, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's why we came together. Me and you, we met online. Obviously, you knew my family before I even knew you.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, man, you contacted me on
Facebook.
On Facebook, yeah.
And it's crazy how things work out like that, because I'll tell you something. And this is what I wanted to ask you, because like I just feel like that there's like the sixth sense of people that had addiction,
right?
Or it's like you find your people.
Yes.
Did you ever notice that?
Yes.
Like because I think of that because like I was telling you, like once we started talking,
right?
I mean, I went, and I don't want to call people out, but I went to a bank.
Right.
All right.
Exactly.
And there was a person there that tells me a story about recovery.
Right.
And then. And like I just reached out to you because I was proud of you because you wrote the book.
Exactly.
And at that point I never even had the book, but now I've seen it, and damn, that's a good read. That's a good read.
I appreciate that.
No,
that's not a paid promotion.
Yeah.
You actually did read the damn thing.
I did read the damn thing. But you know what the thing? Here's the thing, and what makes me so amped about you doing that, us doing this. I mean, there's a lot of war stories when you're going through different, be it the 12-step program, be it whatever.
Right.
You get those war stories because you hear the horrible, and not taking anything away from that, because we're not. That's not what this is for.
Right.
And we need to make that clear from the beginning.
Right.
We're not.
Right.
But we're two people that are super happy, and we were happy before, and we were the life of the party before.
Yep.
And we're still the life of the party. We're high on life now, and that's what this is all about.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think so, and I think you agree with me, and I think we share the same brain most of the time. So we're figuring that out real quick.
Right.
But
right.
So, but I'll tell you when I'm whenever I messaged you, and I was sincere about that because.
Right.
Like, I'm so proud of people that make it to that other side,
Absolutely.
And when I saw that somebody posted that, we didn't follow each other.
No.
I knew your dad,
Right,
I know your uncle, I know some people, but when I saw that and I read that, I was like, man, this is awesome. And I'm like, I need to reach out to him, just because it was not for anything other than I had no idea you had a podcast at that point.
Right.
It was. Because I wanted to tell you I was proud of you, because I think that that's what this can be too.
Right.
That we're proud of people that can move on, but still know that that's a part of your life. That's always going to be a part of you, but it doesn't define you.
No.
Like addiction doesn't define who we are.
No, absolutely not.
We define who we are.
Yeah.
Our life, our happiness, like your daughter, my daughter, my family, little things, and of course I'm a little bit older than you, maybe a lot bit older than you, but anyway, here's the thing, is when
Absolutely, yes.
little small things start to bring you so much joy.
Yeah.
And
you do.
Your personality doesn't change, and so we can sit here all day long and talk about how awful things are.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not what we're here for.
No.
We want people to know that we're there.
We're here, baby.
Like with open arms.
Yeah.
Because we're proud of them too.
Exactly.
And we should be proud of ourselves. I know you shouldn't be too prideful, but I think that it's been a long time for me since I've had 15 years.
Yeah, you've got a lot more sobriety than I do.
But the thing is like, like I said to you when I wrote sent that thing to you. It doesn't matter if it's 1 year, 1 day,
right.
But when you start to feel it, and like you said,
right,
after a year, because you said, and I'm not putting words in your mouth, but
right.
I just remember you telling me this, that after years, after you get a year in,
right,
you just can't see, you can't believe the difference.
You can't.
And then, and I think that it's a pride thing there too.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I'm not going back to that.
No, you made it too far.
Yeah.
You really made it too far.
And I'm not look, I like to believe in the good in every person.
Right.
But I think people sometimes I don't know if I want to, but
Go for it.
people sometimes want to see you fail. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they don't have, there's no confidence. People are never going to have the confidence in you that you have in you.
Right.
Right? So, I mean, and I believe in help. I believe in all of these things, but I think that,
No, I believe honestly that I've seen a little bit of it, not much, but people that are miserable want you to be miserable with them.
100%, dude.
Yeah.
They want to drag you down. And that's why this podcast is about positivity and
what's
about
the name
joy.
Of it? What's the name of it?
The name of it is
Life After the Party.
Life After the Party.
Yep. Yeah. A celebration in recovery.
In
recovery, sobriety. My man over here made that name up. I give him all the credit. I came to him a while back ago, and I said, hey, I do have, I share another podcast with another friend of mine, Kenny, and he's got a lot going on right now, and I'm so proud of him through his going through nursing school and all that, and he is so swamped. And he said, hey, I know you got all this stuff at home. It's just sitting there. Just go ahead and do something with it. And the hardest part is not having it. It's finding somebody to do it with you. And you have to be able to vibe with that person. Personality, we laugh at the same things. We like the same podcast.
Right. We have ADHD.
We have ADHD, right? You never know what's going to come out of our mouth.
You never know what's going to come out of our mouth. But you know what's
Right.
crazy, and what's going to be crazy for this first episode, is that this is the first time we've actually officially met each other in person.
Yeah, absolutely. I come home and this giant sitting in my driveway.
Talking to his neighbor, because I remember.
My neighbor, because he has ADHD.
Yeah, so I'm like, look, squirrel.
Yeah.
But but
it's great.
And what's crazy is we're sitting here, and I think that, and that's what I was saying too, like earlier before we got on the air or started recording this, is that I think that naturally, when someone has went through what we've went through,
right.
and even though ours are two totally different things. I mean, not totally different.
No, not really.
You started with alcohol, and mine was totally alcohol. And I mean,
I went to the chemicals.
Yeah, it was different time frames. So ours was, if those chemicals were available.
Yeah, you probably would have went there.
Well, and there were times that that you partake. You're like, when in Rome,
hello.
What do we have here?
Right.
But and I think that's what's going to be good too, is that we are two different generations. I'm Generation X, and you're Generation
36. I don't know what that is. Is that like Generation Z or something like that?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
I'm holding on to Generation X as long because I love the '80s, so I'm holding on as long as I can.
But I wish I would have grew up in the '80s. That's my kind of thing.
Oh, my daughter loves '80s music, and she collects vinyl. It's really cool.
How old is she?
She is 20.
20. That's a cool age. That really is.
It's cool. And so I can remember, like I was just telling you that story earlier about the dog, but like I can remember her being the age of your daughter, which is like, and that's and that's something special too.
Yeah.
If you think about if you were where you were,
okay,
you couldn't have a relationship with your daughter like that.
No.
I mean, no. Even just from us talking on the phone,
right?
You're like, how do I do this with this and this and this? Because it's all about her, right?
Exactly.
And that shows that joy,
right,
that you have from sobriety. Because before, that wasn't something that you would even think about, right? I know. I mean, I know.
Oh, I see what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yes, you're explaining to the viewers that I didn't know how to separate my hobby with parenting, because I want to be able to do this, because it's not only a hobby, it helps me stay sober, and we want to go to the moon with this thing.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
No, but what I'm saying is you're right there.
Right.
But I'm saying that, like, the relationship that you have with your, like, she hangs the moon. She hangs the moon.
Yes.
And before an addiction, that's what hung the moon for you.
Right.
Addiction hung the moon for you because you're like, this makes me feel so good.
Right.
But she's making you feel that good, and that's what I'm talking about.
I didn't know how to feel when I first got sober. I remember I was so excited to come back home from rehab to pick her up, And when I got back into town, it was a drive from Columbus up here. I was scared to death. I didn't know what to do. Like I was like, I'm new at this sober thing, and now it's just like it's fun.
Oh yeah.
You know,
well, that would be. I mean, like, dude, to come from that,
right?
And you're a new father.
Yes.
And so, like, that's all new stuff.
Yeah.
Like, and it's going to be new. It continues to be new throughout your life.
Imagine.
Like like there are things that I go, huh. We were saying, we were just talking about just like, okay, for example, when and this the whole way that we met and we were talking and
right,
and how that folks with like-minded folks or people with addictions, like you just seem to find people.
Yes.
Like it's a weird thing.
Yeah, you
like,
do.
You know, and when after I talked to you, yeah, it is. And after I talked to you, like I said, it was the bank, and then I went to Walmart, and I was talking to this girl, and she's like, "I'm 14 years sober," and we weren't talking about that. We were talking about Christmas decorations, you know.
Right.
So I just think that like there are no coincidences. There's a reason that all this happens.
Exactly, and when I started thinking about like, okay, I want this dude that I'd never met to be a part of this. And I have all the equipment. I just need somebody with a better brain and more creative mindset.
I don't know about better brain,
but both of us create the full brain.
Yeah, I mean, and what we both said, and it's happening so organically right now, is we had to vibe. We had to vibe.
This today was going to show it.
Right, this is going to show it. And I mean, we did like on the phone and stuff, which is cool, but it's easier to talk on the phone than it is
yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? And because you know, I mean, you have to be comfortable and you know some of the background stuff that I've done.
Yes.
I've done some stuff in front of the camera.
Do you want to talk about it?
I mean, yeah, a little. I mean,
it's up to you. Hit or miss. It's up to you, bud.
So one thing about and this kind of ties in, I think, with us in general. And I mean, you've got more time than I do as far as like the to get dreams to come to fruition. But I always wanted to do something, you know, like in the arts of some sort, you know. And so there were opportunities and opportunities missed, and it was my fault. Some were girls that were anyway, but so like just you see things and you're like, well, I'll come back to that. I'll come back to that.
Absolutely.
And
it doesn't.
Time goes fast.
Yes, it
and
does.
So I kind of wrote a show that I can't talk about, but
I know everything.
You know everything about
it.
And so that process showed me, which and when I talked to you, it showed you the same thing, that you can do things, you can do whatever you want. Like anyone that sits and says, "Oh, I can't do that because I don't have this, or I'm not in the right place." Yeah, I mean, I wrote a show on a farm. And Jewett, you know?
Like, you are originally from
Caddis,
right?
Caddis.
Yes. And the funny thing is, it's hard to interrupt you.
No.
These people that they don't know, you worked for my family business.
Yeah. Well, because when we first talked, I was like, I mean, you mind if I say what I said to you on the?
Go for it.
But so when I saw that you had written the book, and someone posted it on Facebook, I mean, we didn't follow each other, we didn't even know each other.
No, hell no.
And so I was like, and I'm such a huge proponent of that, of being proud of people who have made, because I mean, the sad truth of it is there's some that don't make it, and worse, you know, some that they can't get away from addiction, or that, you know.
It's sad.
It's sad.
I mean, it's
very sad.
Very few of us get away from it.
And it's a struggle that I mean, again, it doesn't define us.
No, it doesn't.
I think that we define us.
Yes.
Our souls, our hearts define us, right? And I think that sometimes, and I know that this, like, I always thought that I was a good person. You know what I mean? But when I was, and I say high, but drunk, but when I was like when I was in that state, I'm like, well, I don't know why everyone doesn't love me because I love me and I'm great, you know. But I was wrong, you know, because like. I mean, you have those friends who are like, oh man, you'll be hilarious if you do this.
Yes.
Right? Because I was always like, I always tried to be on, like, and it's my natural personality. But when there's a bunch of people that you think are kind of like, oh, I have to be that person.
Yeah.
We talked about this.
Yes.
They're like, I'm going to drink more. In my case, I was like, I'm drinking more. I don't care that those guys sit and drink beer. That doesn't. I hate beer.
Exactly.
I'm like, I'm going to drink. It used to be 3 fingers of Jack, 2 pieces of ice, water will make you rust. That's what I would drink. And because it started like, oh, I'll have a little bit of pop in there.
Right.
And then I was like, done.
Done,
so
right.
Like Transformer, like, and so I'm going straight to the booze, you know? And so I would get to the point where, I mean, of course, there was different things where, like, the way I always looked at it is, like, there was that fun part in the beginning, right?
Right.
And like, oh my gosh, this guy's fun.
Yeah.
This guy, I want to hang around with this guy.
Yeah.
And then you go to there's like stages, right? So then you go to the next stage and you're like, this guy's still kind of fun, but he's kind of being a dick.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But it's just in a fun way, right?
Yeah.
And then you're like, this guy's an asshole.
Right.
Like I don't like this guy anymore.
Right.
And then the next day I'm like, I didn't like that guy either.
Nope.
You know
nope.
What I mean? So you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Right?
What happened to that guy? You know.
Yeah.
It's
and
it's wild how that works.
It is. It's
And
really
you're
crazy.
Absolutely right. I never thought about that before.
And you don't think about it until after, until you're past it.
Yep.
Because I think, I mean, we both have some, and we're not being trivial about it by any means, but there was a reason that was fun for us because we have fun stories about that.
Oh, dude,
and I think that we'll tell those stories, but
absolutely.
But the most important thing is that we realized, I think, that if you realize how much better your life is after, then and it's still because you don't really know. And then you tell me if I mean I could be, but in the beginning, really in the beginning, the most part. And we were talking about this a little bit earlier, and I kind of stopped because we were both all over the place all the time. But like you don't know where you fit in.
No, you don't.
Because
you're absolutely right.
Like your peers are all. Mm-hmm. I mean, they can have a normal drink, or they can do what have you. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you don't like. I'm not going to go to a bar. I mean, like I can go to a bar where there's a restaurant and I can eat.
Right.
And people can drink around me. It doesn't bother me at all.
Right.
But I sure as hell don't want to be around a bunch of drunk people because, and I'm not being a prude by any means, but it shows you if you're around people like that. And you tell me, I'm asking you right now. It shows you how bad you were.
Yeah.
Like I see, I'm like, if that guy's acting like that, how bad was I?
Yeah.
Because I thought that, man, everyone wanted to hear what I had to say, and I'm like, I'm partying down. It doesn't matter. Yeah. And so you know what I'm talking about?
No, I get it. I'm not gonna give out a name, but I know a guy that he still has a problem. He doesn't want to admit it. I think he's trying to get sober, but that's either here or there. But just the way he looks all the time, just people are starting to notice. Yeah. And it's like, did I look like that? How did I get away with it? You know,
because you convince yourself you don't.
Right. Like yeah. It's like I look normal. I look. Nobody's going to notice. I'll fit in. I'll just get a snooze in here or there, you know what I mean? Like, it'll be fine, shit, fuck, I got it. Yeah. But you look like hell. Mm-hmm. You look like shit. Right.
And well, that's the thing too, like, I mean, and the sad reality of it is like, and where we grew up too, like, I don't know because again, there's generations here. Yes. But like when we were coming up, it was like a rite of passage. Like, I can remember like a buddy of mine's dad giving us uncle he was giving us Coors, you know? Yeah. Because like and they had a reunion, And like I can remember it like it was yesterday. Like Under the Boardwalk was playing on like the play music, and he was like, "Hey, you guys want a Coors?" And we're like, "Oh, yeah, you know,
yeah, sure."
And I mean, I come from a long line of like there's alcoholism is in my family.
I know your uncle.
Yeah, and so it's like, and I thought as an individual, like, well, that's not gonna happen to me.
No, you always think.
I mean, I'm like, dude, I'm like, I mean, here's a funny little side bit. Okay,
go for it.
So after I quit, and I quit smoking because I'd smoke when I drank.
Okay, yeah, that's a big thing.
And I never considered myself a smoker.
Okay,
but I was. I just, you know.
You just didn't.
And here's a funny story about that. Like when I first, because my dad smoked and I hated it. Like I didn't like cigarette smoke, but so I remember being in a bar with my sisters. I have 2 older sisters.
Okay.
And like I never smoked, and like. So I thought I was too cool for school,
Right.
And so like I could see myself in the mirror, and I lit this cigarette, and I was like,
"Oh yeah, get that drag."
And I was like, it was like I was trying to be James Dean, and my sisters called me on it. They're like, "What are you doing? Like, what are you trying to be?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm just taking a drag of this cigarette." And they're like, "Yeah, you took that cigarette. Like you're acting like you're like James Dean on a poster." But anyway,
they called you on.
Yeah, they called me on it. But like, so I guess like I just. Everything seemed like it was manageable. Everything seemed like it was manageable.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the hard reality of it is that you think it's manageable.
Yeah, you do.
And then when and really like fitting in too, like I'm sure you got this. I could be wrong, but you'd have to tell me. But I can remember like, and I think that you should always, because you could be the only person's hope.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you should always be proud. You should say, "I'm clean.
Yeah,
I'm this many years. I'm this.
Yep.
I think that it's extremely important because, and you should tell people.
Right.
I think you should tell people.
You should be proud of it.
Right, because you could be their only hope, and they can see, oh look, he's living different.
Yeah,
He's living
exactly.
different. And it's not that never in a million years would I think that I'm better than anyone else.
Right.
I'm just living. And I don't want to sound cliche, but I'm living my best life. Like I'm living the best life that we can.
Yeah.
And like things that we took advantage of before are no longer like when you sent me So what people don't know is that you sent me pictures of the studio because I didn't know you.
Right.
And so and I hope I can say this, but
yeah, you can say whatever you want.
I messaged you back and I was like, "Dude, this looks awesome." And I was like, "It's probably because of your little helper that it looks so great." Because your daughter was like, her back was in the picture, and of course, I mean, I don't know if they know, but you have a 2.5-year-old daughter.
Yes, yep, absolutely.
And so and that like we were talking about earlier, that I think is a huge part too of you. And I'm not talking for you, and I tend to do this, but I think
you're good
because I think about it how I think about
things. Right now. That's great.
I think that a huge part of that, of how much better your life is that you can see these things. You take the time to realize that, right?
Yes.
And you're like in your heart,
right?
It's like it's not about me anymore.
No, it's not.
It's about this person that I made this person.
Exactly.
Right?
That's sitting right there.
And I want this person to look at me like, that's the greatest person in the world.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's the funny thing that you brought that up. You actually set me up for success right now.
Well, that's what I'm trying to do, brother.
Right.
That's what the whole thing's about.
I really I really didn't even notice that you were, but see, back when when I was doing long term, my daughter really wasn't a part of my life, and she was mainly with her mom all the time because I was still trying to figure my shit out.
Right.
And I finally got my shit figured out. Me and Jen were on very great terms right now. We talk. We're trying to figure things out relationship-wise.
Which that's great too.
Yeah, that's great. We're trying. We've always had that thing for each other, but it's just addiction got in the way. Mm-hmm. So we thought that before that, the right way of doing it was to get lawyers involved and get a scheduled time with her. So we finally did, and I finally got granted my days off with my daughter. So a lot of people probably thought I was neglecting her, which it looked like I was. I mean, literally, it did look like I was. I probably was. I just didn't know it.
Can I?
Yeah,
just one more thing.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to go.
No.
But I don't think that you were neglecting. I think that you had to get yourself better.
Yes.
Before you could be that person for her. So just keep going.
No,
I truly believe that.
You're
I believe
right.
that. Yeah.
You're right, because I don't think people understand that, and it's good that you brought that up, because it doesn't sound authentic coming from me, but somebody else. You do have to, when you're going through this kind of shit, you have to get your stuff in order to have your kid.
100%.
And then once you get that, you don't have to be you're clean, but you feel a lot better,
Right.
being a couple months clean. I can be a father now.
Yeah.
And do things that I need to do to provide for her, and now I can. So now I can, have her here. I can, do everything that everybody is supposed to do as a father or a mother: feed, change diapers, give her baths, all that stuff.
Enjoy the process.
Enjoy
dude.
the process.
Because
yeah.
that's, I mean, because believe me, and I love, it's like I told you, I'm a girl dad, so
Yes, you are.
It kind of that's another thing that works out. But
Yes.
I'm just a little bit older, and we make sure that we say a little bit. But anyway, so but I think, and you're always, and I think that's another thing too,
right?
That comes in with addiction of any sort. There's like an anxiety or an always looking at yourself saying, am I doing this right?
Yeah.
Is this the way that it's supposed to be done?
Exactly.
And I don't think that there's any way that it's supposed to be done. You
No,
do it with
there's
your
no
heart. You do it with love.
Yeah.
And then, I mean,
Yeah.
as long as they see that,
Yeah.
and you don't have to be like, I don't think you have to be like, there are so many people that are like uber successful, right? Like,
right.
Like, I mean, I'm talking like executives
that
have no relationship with their children.
No, they don't even see them.
They don't, because it's probably not something that
right.
was ever thought about. And I mean, there's something to be said too that, like, I can remember, and I had a great father, but
right.
my dad was like, it was work.
Right. Okay.
And I work every day except for Sunday, because I remember like
I don't know your dad, so
yeah. When my dad passed away, I was 24.
Oh wow! What was it?
It was pancreatic cancer.
Oh, I'm
It was
sorry.
awful. Yeah, it was an
God.
awful thing.
Jesus.
And so I'd never even seen like my like no one. I'd seen no one pass away.
Wow.
So.
He was the first?
Yeah,
Oh,
like my
Jesus.
grandparents were still alive and everything, and like I was naive about it, and so was my uncle.
God.
And I'll tell you this, my uncle, like,
Is it the one I know?
No, that's another one. But he had an addiction problem as well with alcohol.
Okay.
Yeah, we had a bunch of them. And so, anyway, like I came home, I was living in Columbus, and I came home because there was all kinds of stuff that my dad did that needed to be done. So I came home. I just graduated from college, and at the time, and I had a job, but I was looking for a career.
Right, yeah.
And whatever. But anyway, so and so I went to Columbus, and I stayed with my sister and my brother-in-law, and they're like, so I got a job. At first,
What was it?
so my brother-in-law made fun of me every freaking night. My first job was on the west side as a waiter. I never would. That's why I always give good tips, because I'm gonna tell you something. Like that is, I did it for. That was the shortest job I ever had in my whole life.
Really?
Because, I'm not, okay, so, like, the managers were some bigger girls, okay?
Okay.
And I had to have, like, at least an extra large shirt.
Right.
Because, I mean, I might have been thinner then, but I mean, I have orangutan arms, so I have to have a shirt that's not going to be up here like a cabana boy, you know what I mean? Like, I got to have something that's going to fit on me.
Right.
And so I was like, I need like an extra large or a double extra large, and they're like, well, we don't have any of those. You're gonna have to wear a large.
Jesus.
And it dug up into my armpits, and so I had this shirt on with a big parrot on the back. And at the time,
dude.
it was Chi-Chi's. It was Chi-Chi's.
Oh, shit.
That's how long ago it was. And Chi-Chi's had some song, and I wish I could remember the song, but the song was like, it was some stupid song. And my brother-in-law, every time I would come in from work, my brother-in-law would sing it when I'd walk in.
Nuh-uh.
I'm like,
Shut the hell up.
So anyway, yeah. So I came home. There's more stories I could tell about that, maybe for another day. But I'll say this much: the reason it was so short-lived is, and it involved alcohol. Everything that I ever had was a trouble, but it wasn't alcohol that I drank.
Yep.
I was carrying a tray with a Dos Equis on. I'll never forget it. A Dos Equis, a strawberry daiquiri, and a Coke for this little kid.
No shit.
I walked over, and I took. Thank God I took the daiquiri off first, but it counterbalanced that thing, and it went, and the Dos Equis went,
no.
and like poured all over the dad, and I'm like, I'm done with this. I can't do this. This is not for me. Like I could talk to people, and then people were taking my tips, and my shirt was digging in my armpits. I'm like, I'm quitting this job. So I ended up delivering pizza. That's what I did, and it was good because man, there was like dudes that were like lifers there that were making pizzas that were unbelievable. Like it was Donato's. And so, you ever had Donato's?
Yes. Oh my God.
It's so good. And they were making mariachi beef pizzas with extra stuff on it, and like they weren't on the menu. And I was eating well. I had money in my pocket. But anyway,
you can't beat that.
No, can't beat that.
No.
So I come home, and we're doing all this work for my dad. My uncle comes over because my dad was really sick. I mean, it was awful. And so my uncle goes, we get done, and both of us were real naive about it and thought, well, he's going to be fine. Mm-hmm. He's going to be fine. He's got to get through this part, and everything's going to be fine. We had no idea how bad pancreatic cancer was. Right. My sister was a nurse. She knew. She's registered nurse and surgical assistant, all kinds of stuff. And she knew, but she wasn't kind of telling us, how bad it was. And so we get done, I think we bleached the deck. We had to bleach, it was a wooden deck, we bleached it. My dad used to do stuff he was like all about doing all kinds of stuff. And I'll tell you a story, it's a good story that I am going to tell you this story too. But anyway, so my uncle's like, you want a beer? And I go, Dad doesn't have a beer. Because my uncle said my dad beat the curse because he didn't drink.
Really?
Yeah, he would drink, but he drank responsibly. Mm. And because my dad would get sick if he drank. And
oh, wow.
So, but his brothers weren't like that. And so he saw in me his brothers.
No shit.
And like when I came home, I would go, it was how I dealt with it.
Right, right.
And so I would go out and drink with guys that worked with him at the mine. They weren't my friends, they were his friends. But I like to hear the stories. Right. And they liked my dad, and I like to tell the stories. And so my dad, he couldn't even make it up the stairs. We had a big old colonial home, and he was like, hey, come here and sit with me. And my dad was, like I told you before, my dad said I had diarrhea of the mouth. Like my dad didn't talk a whole lot. Like I talk a lot, yeah. I get that from my mom's side. They were car salesmen and stuff.
I can see
anyway,
that.
So, but he was like, your mom doesn't need this. She's got enough to worry about with me. That you can't be going out and drinking like this. And then again, then I didn't. I had no idea that I had any issue with it. I just thought I was doing what everyone else did,
Right.
And because we grew up in a situation where there was a rite of passage, everyone drank like that. Everyone,
Everybody did.
So, but anyhow, so like when my uncle, when he says, "You want a beer?" I said, "Dad doesn't have a beer here," Mm-hmm. And he goes over to his toolbox on his truck, and he's like, "Pum." And he pulled out, pulled out beers. They were Miller. What's the black label one? I don't know. I never drank Miller beer, but it doesn't matter. But anyway, I was like, it must have been High Life. No, it wasn't High Life. Whatever it was, Genuine Draft. Miller Genuine Draft. That's what it was. And he was like, I said, you're drunk? And he goes, yeah, sure. So so it was like it was just a thing, And so, but and so like that was that and during that time period, and even like after when he passed, I mean, I drank and I drank.
Really? So the first sip caught you good.
Yeah. I mean, it was the only way that I could, like, I think that people do that. I mean, I think that we do that. It's a crutch. Like we were talking about before, I didn't think that I ever had any kind of anxiety because I'm a pretty outgoing person.
Yeah.
But I did have anxiety. And so when I would think that I needed to be on it, I'm like, I'm drinking more. So that I can be that guy that they all think that I should be.
Exactly.
Did you have that?
Oh, hell yeah, man. It's, I couldn't be that guy without taking a couple pills or snorting a couple pills, or drinking and taking pills. Whatever was on the table that night. I was more outgoing. I talked more. I was more hyper.
Oh yeah.
But the thing of it is though, when you get on the pill kick, it's like you're hyper for so long and you talk for so long. and then you have the come down.
It's like is it a major crash? Because I never did pills, so
yeah,
it's a major.
Yeah, it's like you can like I'm not a doctor, but I think it kind of slows your respiratory system down a little bit.
Oh really?
Yeah, so like you just kind of just like want to go and take a nap. Then you wake up and you feel like shit.
Yeah.
Then you want to do it again.
Because you want to feel better.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then that's it's like for me, I had to go. I mean, I did the whole cranium maintenance thing, and that didn't work out for me at all.
Now explain. Honestly, I just because I don't know.
Yeah.
Tell me what that is. Like because again, mine was alcohol, and by the grace of God, I mean, like of course I was court ordered to go to some different clinics.
Right.
But I mean, and like I said, there were some. That was it. But there were some extras if the extras were available. But I wasn't, but I don't know what that is. I really don't know what that is.
Kratom's like, and I didn't know either at the time. Kratom's like it's like a herbal plant. It comes from a plant in Indonesia, I think. I could be wrong, but they like grind it down to a fine powder. Is when I started with it. And you can mix them with like juice, orange juice, or water. And they both taste like crap. It's like it looks like mud, and it tastes even worse. So if you can chug that down, you get a nice little high from it, and then you just kind of figure out, well, add more or less. You either get sick off of it or not, and then you just kind of ride that high for as long.
You know what's funny about that too? And just sidebar. Is like. I never liked beer. I never liked the taste of it. And I don't know that there's many people that start off going, "Wow, this tastes really good."
Right.
No, it's you push yourself to get.
Yes.
And, I like, and I want you to keep going, but I was talking to an old timer, the other day,
right?
And he said it was the first time he ever had a drink.
Really?
And I'm talking 70s.
Holy shit!
And I go, "Oh my gosh!" I'm like, "Wow!" And I was like, "Why did you do it?" And he was like, "Well, I was somewhere, and they had a pina." He's like, "I think they called it a pina colada." And I was like, "I said, okay." I said, "It kind of tastes like coconut and pineapple."
Right.
I said, "You could just drink pineapple and coconut drink. You don't have to have."
Exactly.
But I mean, of course, he doesn't have any issues with it. But it's just, and
that is wild.
It is wild because there are people, and I don't know if you ever felt this way, but I feel like this all the time. And now. After in a year, so you can see, and I think that's part of the joy of it too. I used to look at people that said, "I never had a drink before in my life," and thought, "Well, something's wrong with that person."
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, how could you not have it tasted it? Like, if you liked it or didn't like it, yeah. But and I'm like, and they're like, "I've never missed it,"
Really?
And then after, I'm 15 years,
right?
I don't miss it. I don't miss it at all. Now, I did tell you.
That's wild.
It's crazy. It is really crazy. But there are things that, and let me ask if this happens to you. There are things that can, and I don't know if it's chemically or if it's just something that it's like a familiar. Because like I was asking you when we were talking on the phone, like a Jolly Rancher, right? You know how, or a Sour Patch or whatever. You know how you get that tingling in the back of your tongue?
Yeah.
And you're like, I want, like you're going to eat something sour.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I was walking through, I told you this story, but I was walking through Walmart.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And that song, I take my whiskey dry, or neat. I take my whiskey neat.
Yes.
And like, it just, somehow it was resonating, like, in this whole, like, that's part of my superpower from ADHD is I can hear different conversations. I can hear things going on. You get that? You do that?
Yeah.
And I'm like, my wife, I remember her saying before, she's like, "How do you know what we're talking about when you're having a conversation over there?" I'm like, it's a gift and a curse. I don't know. It is. I can hear stuff.
I can hear people too.
Yeah. And I heard that song and my tongue started going.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't had a drink in 15 years, and that's like making me feel like. Oh my gosh! Like, and I told my uncle, who and he said it's good that you can admit that, and I mean, I wasn't going to have a drink, but it just was weird that like that same feeling, that sensation that was like whenever I was like, this is sour, I'm going to eat that, but it was weird. But anyway,
that is weird, and I wish we had a doctor on here that could explain that. But I'm sure
we're just two knuckleheads. We're just trying to figure it out. That's all.
Yeah, we're just trying to figure this crazy disease out.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it's when I was experimenting with it, Cranum.
And how did you ever hear about this stuff too?
I don't know.
Again, generational gap, but I have never heard of that. When you told me that, I'm like, dude, I don't even know what that is.
Not too many people did up until like maybe a year or two.
Where would you? I mean, now this might be. But where would you find stuff like that? Like, I mean, dealers had it. Head shops. Head shops had it. Okay.
Head shops have it.
So it's legal.
Yeah.
That's
It doesn't
what's
even
crazy.
come up on drug tests.
Yeah. Wow.
Like you can pass a drug test with it. That's
It tastes like
what's
crap.
crazy.
And
It tastes like crap. Yeah, I wouldn't.
But it gets you high.
Drink it.
Wow.
Yeah. But it gets you high, and then I found out it came in a pill form. But they're huge pills, and they're really big. And I had a tolerance towards the end of my addiction, which caused me to take up to 45 pills a day, twice a day. So I was getting pretty fat, because your gut can only take so much.
45 pills.
Mm-hmm.
But they weren't those big horse pills. There was a mixture. You were taking 45 of those?
Yeah.
Good Lord, man.
Yeah, it was almost like a curse because I had to do it. It was like, you know how you get, I'm sure with you, in your head, you might not want to drink that day, so to say, but you have to.
Right. Well,
you know what I mean?
and here's the thing, and I would never. I was good through the week.
Okay.
Like I didn't hide a bottle of booze in behind the toilet or anything like that. Like
that's wild.
I would now there. Of course, I was a sales guy, so you could drink. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I mean, I was like, unless I was doing some sort of I would go to golf tournaments and I'd get hammered.
Right.
I'd park my car and be like, how did I get home? And my wife would be like, you drove.
No shit.
And I'm like, so I could have killed people. It was awful. But like, I could wait until the weekend, but on the weekend it was massive.
It was
binge.
gone.
It was massive binge. Like I would, I didn't want to stop.
Really?
And that's where other things would take me. Like people were like, it's done. We're going home.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm not going home. And then there's embarrassing things that you do, because you're like, well, I don't want to stop.
Right.
And so I could do that. And I'll tell you, it was a come to God moment, but it didn't even. It helped, but it wasn't the. I wasn't. I hadn't lost it all, and got to the point where I'm like, this has to stop.
Right.
And my wife was a big help in that too. She was like, you gotta stop.
You gotta quit.
But then again, if you don't want to, we all know that. If you don't want to, it doesn't matter what people say.
Yeah,
or who you're trying to do it for. You got to do it for yourself.
You have to do it for yourself.
But I can remember we got a camper, and like friends of mine sold me on it, like because we had little kids,
right,
and they're like, dude,
that's the fun thing to do.
Like, yeah, we hang out, we drink, kids can play, put the kids to bed, and we just party, and I'm like, well, sounds like, because I mean, like
you were sold me.
I was like, I could walk to the damn fairgrounds, like Sally Buffalo, I could walk there, but I'll buy a camper and then I'll sit there, and so. My mom was diabetic, and she had my niece and nephew were with her, and she had a major spell and was driving.
Oh wow!
And like could have been really bad, and everyone was trying to find me, and no one could find me, and I was passed out in that camper, and I never forget it because I was like sick because like they're like your mom's in the hospital, and I'm like, oh my gosh, and I was like, I numb myself so much that like. It's like I'm not thinking about anyone else.
No, you're not.
And at the time, and again, at this point, I still don't think I got a problem. I'm like everybody else is doing it. Like when people confront me about it, I'm like, I drink with a bunch of people.
Yeah, exactly.
Like they're all doing it.
Right.
But I did it a little bit. I don't want to say better, but like I was like they were like bars were like, you're not allowed to have liquor here.
No shit, like you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like they're like you. I mean, like they from before. They're like, you're not.
No shit.
And I'm like, and then of course I have people sneaking to me.
Right.
And I'm freaking, I'm a grown man. I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah. Just give me my shit.
Yeah, I'm like, and so I mean, like that's what's different, but it's the same.
Right.
With us is that like. I was very functioning. I didn't, and I knew people that drank during the week and who were functioning alcoholics, but I was like, that's why I didn't think I had an issue. I'm like, I'm not doing that.
No,
I wait until the weekend, and when it was like Fred Flintstone sliding off that freaking dinosaur, I'm like, doo-doo-doo, and I'm like, I'm gonna go drink,
Did you have to go to the bar, or did you just do it at home?
Well, I mean, I would I like being social, and I was never one that, like, there was a point where I was trying to cut back, and I said, and I have kidney stuff too, because I've had like a bunch of kidney surgeries and stuff, so it's not good to drink a bunch of stuff or do anything whenever you have that issue. And so, but I there were things, like, I can remember lifting, and I wanted to go to over 200 pounds.
Right.
Yeah, now I want to get back to 200 pounds. But anyway, so.
Me too.
But, like, I was like, there was a buddy of mine that I was lifting with, and he was taking creatine.
Okay.
And I'm like, and I knew that it had to be bad for my kidneys. Like,
yeah.
I can't process that through my kidneys.
Yeah.
But I kept watching him, and I'm like, and he was like strides, like he had a big barrel chest. He was benching a lot more than I was ever going to bench.
Really?
But curls, man, we were there, and I was like, I was watching him, like I was watching him like this, like a dog watches you, like what dog watches you when you take a crap.
Right.
Like they wonder what you're doing and how it's working for you. So anyway, so I'm like, because I mean, we have addictive personalities, right? So,
right.
And I think because we talked to you about you buying stuff, like I'm big on if I seen on TV stuff or whatever. I'm like,
me too.
That has to work.
Yeah.
I'm buying it, so we're there too.
Amazon's
we're sympathical, we're sympathical on that, because it used to be, I mean, you could get it on TV, and then I think that stems from when I was a kid. I wanted stuff,
QVC or something like that.
No, it was like comic books on the back, and you could order stuff.
Yes.
And so, like, you see on a Christmas Story when it's like, always drink your Ovaltine, like every year, but my stuff was like you got Revolutionary War Men or
toys,
and so like I
can only imagine.
Yeah, it was like, I mean, getting stuff in the mail, and that's why, like, eBay, like I'll still buy stuff, and I'm like,
you can't wait. You can't wait for the package.
Like,
yeah.
What do I got?
I don't know what it is. I think it's just like the package coming, and you're like, oh my god, I can't wait.
It's like Christmas every day.
Yeah, every day. That's what it was like with all these podcast gears. Like every day was something coming in the mail.
Oh, I can only imagine.
And my parents were like, what the fuck?
But think about that. It's like an addiction.
It is.
It's addiction there too.
Is.
Because every day you're like, oh. But then that dopamine goes away, and you're like, well, I want something else.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, and that's where, like, you started with drinking.
Yep.
And you're like, wait a second. This is good, but what if we went here?
Exactly.
What if we mix something that tastes like crap together and drink that? Ooh, that's pretty good.
That's even better.
And I'll hold my nose.
Yeah.
Because that makes me feel good,
Yeah, I even had a guy at work try it. He goes, I can't believe you did this.
Yeah.
This is god awful. I'm like,
from the way you explained it, I mean, that's pretty descriptive. Like, I could only, it seems to me like something like that is like one of those things where like if you were trapped in the jungle and somebody, like, all of a sudden the natives were like, they start scraping stuff off, and you're like, what's that? And you're like,
that's what it was.
It's sustenance. You have to do this. You have to do it
if you want to get high.
Right. This is what you got to do. So
hey, we go to different lengths to get what we want.
Well, and I mean, and again, that's where there is that connection of alcohol and what you're talking about is that, I mean, I can remember beer taste. Everything tasted skunky to me.
Oh, dude,
I thought that was
beer
awful.
was awful.
And then, like, I can remember when I turned 21, I was like, I'm gonna get a beer and a shot of wild turkey, because wild turkey was and I was like, I mean, like, that just seemed like the right thing to do.
God.
And then I started drinking Jack, and like that was my jam, dude. Like, I was like, I'll tell you, one time, like, and I hadn't drank for years, and I was at Walmart. I keep saying I was at Walmart, but I just Walmart, it's got everything, yeah. And there was this ice cream, and it was like little tiny containers like this. And my wife eats, like, she really likes ice cream. I was never like the ice cream dude. Like, I like sweets, but I'm like, ice cream's okay, whatever, but she always wanted to get ice cream, so I would get ice cream. But I was there, and I never bought ice cream. Like, I would buy her ice cream. I would never buy it just for me.
Right.
And there was these containers, and it was brown sugar and bourbon.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
And so I come home and I'm eating this, and she goes, "What are you eating?" Because she knew that I always got ice cream for her and never me. I was like, ice cream, and she goes, well, you eating ice cream? And I was like, yeah.
Yep.
I said, it's brown sugar and bourbon. And she's like, oh my gosh. She's like, you're not going to start drinking again, are you? I'm like, no, but I'm going to eat a hell of a lot of this ice cream. And I did. I ate that ice cream. Dude, I ate, because you replace stuff.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
Like sweets or chocolate. Yeah.
I did the same thing, yeah.
There's something you have to,
You replace it with something,
yeah, you have to do something. And of course I had quit, I quit smoking. But then I started, I started chewing. I started Copenhagen, and I was like it was.
This is what I do. Yep.
And this is awful, but it's just funny. The first day of work, and I worked in your uncle's office.
Right.
And on his computer it said, Red Man and radios, and it was like bounced back and forth because he chewed Red Man, right?
Yeah, still does. Yep, still does.
And so he's like, "You want to chew?" I think he did it like as a joke. And I was like, "I've got Copenhagen in the car, but I didn't think it'd be appropriate to chew it in the office." And he's like, "No." He's like, "It's just us here, go ahead." And so then I'd get to the point where I'd have a dip in, and like he'd go. I was like, I gotta go in, like we'd be riding together. I was like, I gotta go in and talk to this client. I was like, I gotta take this out. He's like, man, just keep it in there. They won't see it. I'm not like, oh, you're your uncle, but it was just funny but I mean, like, that was my thing then, because it wasn't any sweets or anything. I quit drinking, I quit smoking.
That's a lot to do.
Yeah, but cope was like, I mean, and that's like a beeline right into your system, you know?
Yeah.
It's like right in there.
Through there, man.
And so because I can remember the first time, like I was we were at a church function, like a cookout.
Oh wow!
And it was like when the church in Caddis,
right?
Big
okay.
One. And my father-in-law was like cooking out. It was like at a camp or something. He was cooking out, and he had grizzly. And I was like, man, I haven't had a dip since I was in high school. I was like, let me get it.
Let me get one.
And so I put it in, and I put a big old freaking thing in.
I bet you did.
And so we get in the car, and Tara goes, what do you have in your mouth? And I go, that's chew. I said, I'm a sales guy, so I'm not going to keep doing this.
Right.
I said, this, I just wanted one. I haven't had one for a long time.
Right.
That started it, just not like anything else.
Yeah. It's that quick.
Right. It's that quick. And so then I was like constant, and I'm like, well, what I'll do is I'll get mouthwash because I'll rinse it out. I'm on the road all the time, so I'll rinse it out.
Right, keep it in your car.
And this didn't even stop me from doing it. I had a bottle of blue Gatorade.
Oh my god!
And the mouthwash was blue. So I spit in that because Gatorade bottles were always good because it had that wide top.
Yeah, that wide top so you can spit. Yep.
And then I would spit the mouthwash in because I'd go in to see clients.
Right.
And I was driving. There's a hill in Steubenville, like where you go to there's like two Trinities. I don't know.
Right.
And there's that one that goes up that back way, like downtown Steubenville. It's a real steep hill.
Yep.
I was going up that hill, and I don't know what I was thinking, and I grabbed that bottle and I started drinking, and I started seeing chunks.
Oh, dude.
Dude, I drank it, and I was like, because you open up the drink, whatever, water or whatever, and I was like,
did you?
No, I didn't throw up. I wanted to. I should have just went like that, and just but I didn't. And I was like, oh my gosh, but like I had to have a surgery where they had to take skin out of the inside of my mouth. And
what?
They
dipped too much?
No, they harvested for kidney stuff.
Oh,
they had to rebuild tubes, and the mucosa. This is getting way too much.
No,
but like the mucosa from your mouth it heals the best.
Okay.
So like I have scars on the inside of my cheeks because they dig it out, and then they cut a muscle out of my leg, and they put that muscle up to pump blood up into my like. It's a lot of stuff.
Dude, that's wild.
Yeah, it's crazy, and so like. I was scared to death because they're like, you have to go to the dentist and see about the mucosa, and I go, they're gonna tell me like that I freaking chew all the time, like for years.
Yeah.
And so I go to the dentist, and like I never had any problems with my teeth, and he goes, I said, they have to check this mucosa, and he's like, oh, that's really good, and he's like, did you have your teeth whitened? And I was like, no, and he's like, well, everything's healthy as could be, and I'm like, And so,
you gotta be kidding me.
And so but I had quit, and then like I thought it'd be really hard to quit because that was the hardest.
It's supposed to be.
That's one of the things that, like, that was the hardest thing that, like, it was it was really hard to quit. But it was like it was my last thing. Like I had that and Mountain Dew. Like
that was it.
And that was it. And so I'm like, and I knew that I had to quit because I had to have the surgery.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, so how am I going to do this? And so I started buying stuff that I hated. Like I hated whatever dip that I bought, right?
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, that's a good idea.
Yeah, and it was like it's like sheep crap in your mouth. I was like, oh. but so and I did it that way, which was really crazy. But I had quit drinking and stuff, so
Right.
I don't know. I didn't use the same method, but I mean, you kind of. You know how it is. Like
Right,
you're like, I know
Yep.
that I have to get past this point. I get past this point, then I'm not going to have those withdrawals anymore. If I can get past this point, all right? So that's kind of how like I thought about it, and then I was like, it tastes like shit anyway. So I'm like,
Right.
I'm not gonna. I don't.
You're not
it
gonna
doesn't
want
really.
it.
Yeah, I'm not going to want it.
Right.
And so, so then I quit, and I'm like,
That's why.
and I had a bunch more time before the surgery. And I called the doctor and I'm like, hey, can I start again? I said, I actually called him. I said, can I start again? He's like, why would you want to do that? And I'm like, because I love it. And then now I don't have it.
Right.
And I'm like, and if I can quit that quick off of it, I said, then I'll do it again before the surgery.
Right.
I just have to have that much time before the surgery.
He probably thought you were crazy.
Oh, he did. Yeah. And you know what the crazy thing was is that I put a dip in like a long time after the withdrawal was over and everything. And it just shows how your body doesn't want that, right? And I'm not saying, I mean, I know that, but I got sick. Like when I was a kid, I got sick from.
You got the spins.
Yeah, well, yeah, and like I felt like because I remember when I was a kid. Do you remember the Coal Festival?
Oh yeah.
So back then, like there's a big conspiracy theory that says that the tobacco companies they were recruiting kids.
Yeah,
they gave us Gold
that.
River and Silver Creek. We were kids. They had, they just take it.
No.
And I remember saying to my dad, I'm like, hey, can I chew this? And my dad and my uncle were those big ones because my uncle was 25 years sober when I was a kid and was like, yeah, go ahead, do it in front of me. Because he wanted me to get sick,
so he can prove a point, right?
And then you would never do it again.
Right.
That was the whole, it was like learning by, it was tough love.
Yeah, that's what I think everybody did that.
So, I mean, I can remember we were sled ride one time, and it's like, and my dad and my uncle were smoking grapevines. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? And they're like, it tastes really good. We used to do this when we were kids. They're like, try it. And I was like, and I'm like, it does. It tastes like grape. And I was like, it's like getting one of those blunt purple ones. You know how you see guys getting them ones with the
owls, the white owls.
Yeah, the white owls.
The blunt wraps.
Because they're flavored or whatever.
Yeah.
But it had like, but
awesome.
So, yeah, and so like my uncle would be like, yeah, go ahead, and my dad was like, yeah, go ahead, and thinking that I would get really sick, and like a buddy of ours got really sick, and we made fun of him, right? But we didn't get really sick, so we were like, ha ha.
Yeah, we got you.
Right, but I ended up, I had to mow, I had a bunch of yards that I mowed grass when I was a kid, and I had to mow, and I put in Silver Creek. And I just eating cheese hot dogs.
Oh, dude.
I was like mowing on the hillside, and I was like,
oh.
And a hot dog truck started going, and I'm like, oh, and it was like,
I hate that.
I don't believe in karma, but man, I was like, that's what you get for making fun of your buddy.
Yeah.
For throwing up because
you just screwed yourself.
Yeah. But so I mean, like it was always things like that, like that. But so yeah, when I quit that, and then it was like, of course they did the surgery and everything was fine, but it was really hard to quit that. Like it was extremely hard.
Yeah.
And then all I had was Mountain Dew. And then you start getting older, and everyone's like, "You shouldn't be drinking Mountain Dew."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Don't tell me that I can't drink Mountain Dew."
Right. My buddy's addicted to it at work. You gotta get off of it.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
yeah. What's crazy is like people they would say, "Oh, you drink too much Mountain Dew," and I'm like, "I don't drink that much. I drink like 3 a day." Like 3 a day is what I thought that I was having.
Right.
And just recently, because now I'm showing my age, but I had like this episode, right? Like I was like, I've been going to the gym and doing the stuff that I hadn't been doing for a long time.
Right.
And then I was talking to my wife, and I stopped drinking Mountain Dew. I was like, I'm not going to drink it, And I just like cold turkey, which, I mean, withdrawal from Mountain Dew is legit.
Yeah, it's legit. I hear it is.
And so I was getting headaches horrible.
Yeah, he did too.
Dude, it was awful. And like it was like it was almost like sinus headaches. It was like this like constant pressure.
Right, pressure in your head.
And so I was talking to my wife, and I reached down into like the lazy Susan thing to get spices, and I was like, started getting like kind of like
no way,
like a little off. And
really?
And I says, my face real red? My face gets red a lot, but
mine does
when
too.
I get hot and whatever. But she was like, it's like purple, and I'm like, oh crap.
Jesus.
And so. Like, I could feel something either spike up or spike down.
Right.
People were like, well, it could be your sugar because you're not doing this, or it could be your blood pressure because this. And I'm like, jeez. So I sat down, I was like, I just need some water. And she was giving me the water, and whatever, it was fine. But my sister's a nurse, and of course, and I'm like, your mom knows. So like, that's your go-to. You always ask, well, what's this?
Yeah, exactly.
What's this? You know? So I figured it was the same. But yeah, so it's like, I said, I said, May said that it was probably my sugar because he has sugar problems, but I don't have that. And I was like, but I said, it could be my blood pressure.
Right, yeah, that'd be one thing.
Yeah, and Beth was like, yeah, your blood pressure's probably spiked up because you're craving that, and so it's making you have that. It's like bringing your blood pressure up, and it did it in one fell swoop because you were bent over like that, and then when you came up, it was
right.
So I started drinking like little cans a day, like just little, those little ones.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I gotta have. Because I even said to the doctor when I went to the doctor, I'm like, I drink one little thing. Sometimes I do more than that, but I'm like, because I can't just like.
You can't just quit.
Like
I
because
love Mountain Dew.
Yeah, me too.
I can't go without it.
And it's so bad, but it's good. I love it. Like and if I could get a fountain pop on, you ever? That's the best.
It's like I don't even know how to explain the fountain pop.
Oh,
are you hot right now?
I am a little bit warm.
I'm fucking warm. In the break here, we just took a pee break and got some drinks, and I think that was a good first take. Oh crap! Wait a minute. We got sidetracked a little bit, but I got this crazy story I want to talk about.
Because you said you were going to tell me a story.
Yes,
I forgot.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I want to
hear the story. Because you like the anticipation was killing me. Like I sent you that, like it was like the Joker. I was like, it's killing me, And
exactly.
we didn't talk about it, so please go.
And I totally forgot all about it because that's just how I am. And
no, that's how we both are.
So this is what kind of happened. So as you know, I'm on Suboxone, and I've been on it for a year now, and we've been monitoring it. I go to a really good place. The lady there, she's very good, thorough, has me on a specific game plan.
Right.
I am not to get involved in my crazy mind. So we were going.
It's regimented.
Yes.
You make sure that you do it this way, and that's how it works. That's the. Okay, I got you. All right.
And that's
the process.
I can't, even though I went off of it now. She says no. We're going down like every 2 milligrams. Nice. So I go 2 months. Let's say if I'm on 16 milligrams, I go 2 months, and then I get to drop down 2 milligrams. Yep. So 16, 15, 14. I'll be on 14, and then go 2 more down. So anyway, I get there. I think it was like last week, and it was on my days of work. I had to go up there and make an appearance, and they're like, all right, so the doctor that was there for the whole time ended up leaving, going somewhere else. So now I'm kind of.
I mean, they left the practice.
Well, I don't know if she left it. They wouldn't say, but.
She's no longer there.
She's no longer there,
gotcha.
And she was a sweetheart. Like I loved that lady. Like she understood.
Yeah, that's hard.
She was cool. I wanted to finish the program with her there.
Right.
Because she knew what I had to do to get there.
Yeah, I mean that's.
But it's life. Things change. You know what I mean?
You gotta roll with the punches.
Gotta roll with the punches, and I don't know how to. So
I think that as time goes on, I think that you learn.
Yeah.
There's coping skills that you learn that you just don't. You rely on different things.
Yes.
And just like we're talking about this with this whole thing, joy, happiness.
Yes.
Seeing the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yep.
And relying on your inner strength.
Yes.
In order to get there, but keep going.
No. You're right though. Inner strength, because that plays a part in this too.
Oh, well,
so
see, we're simpatico, man.
Exactly.
I'm telling you.
We think alike.
It's like
here.
it's brothers from another mother. I'm telling you.
I'm telling you, man. We think alike.
Please, go ahead.
So, I get up there. We're like, all right, well, here's 16 milligrams. We'll see you in next week. And I'm like, no. I was like, I'm taking 1 pill now. And I don't know much about milligrams. I should know for being a drug addict, but I was like, I'm taking one pill now.
Hey, but you
like,
let somebody else measure that stuff out.
Right.
So you're just like,
let me get behind that desk.
Here's the money.
Yeah.
Hit me up. Yeah,
Let's go.
I mean, obviously, we're making light of all this. So,
Right.
I'm not.
You have to.
Yeah,
You have
exactly.
to, because if you can't laugh about it, then what are you doing?
Right. I've always said
what
if
I
you
mean?
can't laugh at yourself, then you know.
Right. And the
What are you gonna
story,
do?
it's supposed to be funny. It is funny to me. Like, it's me laughing at myself. You know what I mean?
I do it all the time.
Yeah, and I like making fun of myself, and I like people making fun of me when I know one like you, and
Right.
I make fun of you, you make fun
Oh,
of me.
okay. Let me write that down. I didn't know that you like that.
That's how we're doing this shit, boy.
No, keep going.
So, I take the one pill, go home, you know, I feel a little off, but whatever, it's okay. So, get to the next day, taking the pill, feeling a little bit more off, but I'm not really paying attention to it.
But these are different increments, right?
Yes.
Each pill is different milligrams, or no?
It's still the same. But what happened was I went down from 16 down to 8 in one day.
All right,
when I'm
gotcha.
only supposed to go down 2 milligrams.
So you did it on your own?
Yeah. Well, not really. Like, I told them like it was time to go down to that time, because I keep a schedule in my mind. It's like, all right, 2 months are up. We can go down 2 more increments.
Well,
but
and
I wasn't
you know what?
thinking of
I
that.
think that honestly, I mean, it's. I'm not being irresponsible, but I think that my mom always used to say, "You know your own body.
Yeah,
you know your own body."
exactly.
So, like, I kind of feel that. Like, there's things like I'll take supplements, and I'm like, I feel
Right.
like it's working, but is it? I don't know.
Yeah, you have no
feel like
idea.
I like my body feels like different. So I get what you're saying.
Right,
So,
and
yeah.
I kind of know when I'm going through withdrawals and not, and it didn't feel like it. But see what the messed up thing is, Ryan, like, I didn't realize that, like, I was so eager to get down to 1 pill, I didn't realize that that's not 2 milligrams down
Right.
from that
You were
pill.
looking. Here's what you were looking at the finish line. You weren't looking at the journey.
Exactly.
That's what happens.
I was like, I'm almost done here. This is it. After I get done with this, after I get done with 1 pill, I'm going to get down to a half or a quarter and go from there. So,
Well, it's just like it's just like addiction. It's like, okay, I want to get there faster.
Yeah.
I want to get there faster.
no, that's exactly what I thought about.
Right.
Fast and let's get this shit going.
And so you're like, when I was addicted, I wanted to be there faster.
Yes.
I want to take more. I want to drink more. I'll
party
take more. I want to
hard,
party harder. Now it's like I'm at the end, and I want to get there because I want to just be. I want life to be joyful and be the life that I want to have,
Without
but
taking
without taking the
medication.
steps.
Yeah.
Right. So good.
Because a lot of people say like you're not sober when you're taking Suboxone, and I know that's a hard subject to cover for most people.
A hard pill to swallow, if you will. Ba-boom.
Ba-boom.
Go ahead.
But
sorry.
no, seriously, it is, because a lot of people still think you're high or whatever, and you do feel a little high the first week or 2 you're on it, but then it goes away. And I always explained it's up to you if you want to keep that high and keep upping the dosages, or stay on the same dosage and ride that bitch out to where you're feeling normal and not going through withdrawals, but feeling normal without getting high.
Exactly.
So
it's still like taking the edge off, but you're not.
Yes, it's taking
You're
the
not
edge
going
off.
over that edge. You're
I feel normal now because I'm back on where I need to be.
Right.
But when I got back home, I knew I was in trouble, because I was getting the cold sweats. I was feeling irritated, tremors.
So this is all coming back.
All of it. It took about 2 or 3 days for me to realize that I can't be on 1 pill.
Yeah.
So I knew this podcast we wanted to do it today, and I had that appointment today. So remember I tried to get it changed yesterday?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Well, they didn't have their doctor in. So I had to come back up anyways today, but I talked to them yesterday and I said, hey, well, first of all, they said, you don't look the same. I'm like, they said, are you sick? I'm like, no, I'm not sick.
That was
I feel
today
great.
they said that?
That was yesterday.
Oh, yesterday. Okay.
And I was like, I feel great. Like, I feel good. I was like, but I feel like I'm going through withdrawals. They're like, that's it. That's what you look like. I'm like, shit. I'm like, yeah, I think I am. She goes, well, we don't have a doctor today, but if you can get through to tomorrow, you'll be fine. So I'm like, all right.
Which is scary in itself.
Yes.
I mean, my gosh. That's like, dude, like I'm feeling for you, because that's like, okay, so you're just telling me, it's like, okay, we know that you did a crime, but we don't have a jail cell ready until tomorrow.
Exactly.
So just go ahead and don't do anything else.
Right.
You know.
Stay sober.
Right.
That's what they pretty much told me, is like, just try to stay sober.
Gosh, that's rough.
Because I could have went down to
I'm proud of you for that. I'm proud of you for that, dude.
Yeah.
But keep going. I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're absolutely right, because I went in today and the lady was like, that took me in and did my vitals. She's like, this is the funny part. She goes, I remember you. You came in yesterday, right? I'm like, yeah, that was me. And she goes, you're the one who went from 16 milligrams down to 8 in one day. And I'm like, yeah, that's me. And she goes, how did that feel? I was like hell.
Yeah.
And she goes, she didn't act like I was the only one who had done that, because there's a lot of people who try to self-medicate like that and go that extreme. But she goes, you're just plumb crazy for trying that. I applaud you for trying to do it, but that's insane.
Like there's a system in place, and we've seen it. So
we've seen it play out that way.
Right.
So she goes, when was your last dosage of the Suboxone? I said, it was yesterday. I don't have any for today. That's how that's how they made it. So today is my next day of dosage. And I said, I think we're going to go back up. And she goes, yeah. She goes, and you didn't relapse? I said, no, I didn't want to. I didn't even think about it. I said, I'm grateful enough to have good people in my life right now. Like now that I met you, my daughter, Jennifer, my family, everybody that's playing a part in this that don't think they are, keeps my head busy.
And just so you know, I mean, and this is like, truly, I mean, it's from the heart. Anytime you could call me anytime.
Same with you.
And dude, I'd be there in a second.
Yeah, I know you would, because that's how you are.
You know, and it might not be all lovey-dovey, but I'd be there.
Yeah.
You know, like because I care, and that's. I mean, like I've been through that. You know.
Yes, you have. You've been through the shit.
But
you've
just know that
15 years, so you're somebody I look up to, because I want to get to that point too. And now that we know each other and we have our little baby we're making here, you know, love you, Dougie. Yeah. So
no, but I think that we always have to hold ourselves accountable.
Yeah, we do.
But it's good to have someone else that's in your corner.
Absolutely,
that
like
can hold you accountable too.
Right.
You know what I mean? Cheerleader / holding you accountable, because you need that help. I mean, it's just like, to get over an edge, you just need that help. So go ahead. I want to hear the story. I'm sorry.
But yeah, seriously, I
just wanted you to know that. I wanted you to know that from my heart. So.
I appreciate that. That's amazing. And yeah, she took my vitals, and I had to go in front of the doctor, and she was like, I think I heard about this yesterday, that we had a patient in here that went from that high of a dosage down to that low that quick. She goes, you didn't feel anything? I'm like, oh, I felt it all. I was like, but I just knew what I had to do. I said, I knew I was in the thick of the withdrawal. I knew I was 2 days away from my appointment. And I told my mom, and I did have my daughter those days, so she helped me with my daughter to make sure I could get through to that. Right. You know, and I felt like shit the whole time I had my daughter, but I still had to be the parent, you know what I mean?
You had to be responsible.
Yeah. And my mom did help out tremendously.
And I would venture to say, and I mean, you know more than me, but that was probably an X factor to make you, so that you didn't relapse, that you went through that.
Right.
Because you're like, I've gotten this far.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've got my daughter here.
Yeah.
And I don't want to feel. There's shame that I'm going to feel on my own.
Yes.
But I don't want that shame to carry over into my child or my mother.
Right.
And so that struggle. I mean, that struggle is so real.
Yeah.
And again, I know I say I'm proud of people a lot, but I am proud of you, and I'm proud that you pushed through that.
Yeah.
I mean. Dude, I went uptown. I couldn't not eat a donut. So
I mean, I can't pass a grocery store without getting a Mountain Dew or a rub.
Right, but
I can get through a day without
awesome.
without a Cranum.
Right.
So
that's wonderful.
It was like
really great.
And
the fact that you had to drive home and you could just pick it up anyway.
Exactly. It's right uptown, right up there.
And that's what's like, people don't understand that either. Like, I didn't even understand that it's so readily available.
It is.
That
it's like here now.
It's so crazy.
It's everywhere, and that's what people need to realize.
Somebody wanted me to sell it, but they didn't. So anyway, but go ahead. I mean, like legally, like they wanted me to have a sales team, but go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's
crazy.
On your
It's
part.
crazy.
You could have made a ton of money. But you're like, no, I'm not going to do that, and I applaud you for that because that's a big money maker.
Like I tell you. Well, that's another day. That's a story for another day. But go ahead, please keep going.
But well, I'll finish this story up. But so anybody out there that you just gotta understand the importance of Suboxone and how to manage it. And when you feel like you're in the shit of it, just don't give up on your sobriety. You know what I mean? Because there is light on the other end of the tunnel. Call them. You know, there's no. What the hell am I doing?
No, it's.
I'll try to cut that out.
No,
but,
I mean it's how you're feeling. It's your feelings, and there's no shame. There's no shame.
There's no shame.
And the shame that. Think about the shame on the other side. And you shouldn't have. I'm not. Shame may be a bad word to say about a relapse, but you do feel shameful. You feel shameful when you shouldn't. Deep in your soul.
Right.
So I'm not making it like you know what I'm saying. I'm not making it bad. Like,
no, like people do feel shameful, but you shouldn't. It's relapse is just a part of the journey.
Right. Oh,
you know
100%.
what I mean? Like you learn from the relapse. So it's like you shouldn't do it, but it's okay to do.
But I think that. And I obviously can't speak for everyone, but I think that, like I said, I think we share the same brain, which could be bad, but like,
could be
I think that there's internal, and shame may not be the right word, but I think there's a lot of times when, and it doesn't even have to be about addiction. Right. It can be about anything in life. You get really hard on yourself. You start thinking, "Oh my gosh, why couldn't I do that? Why didn't I do this right? Why?" And I don't think I don't think that's exclusive to anyone who had an addiction problem.
No.
I think that's exclusive to the people in life. And you see how different things are throughout life right now.
Yes.
And you don't even you like I could never imagine. Like for example, like high school. I loved high school.
Right.
But then, like, there's people that hated high school.
Hated it, yeah, absolutely.
And you know, you see all these things that go on, and the shootings and everything.
Yes.
And you think, how could it get that bad?
Mm-hmm.
But there's someone that is internalizing these feelings, and you know, bullying, whatever. I mean, you know, I think that both of us. We were blessed enough that we probably bullied each other and got bullied back. You know what I mean? And it wasn't. The thought wasn't that, like, you just, if you gave as much as you took.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
But that doesn't mean that everyone's like that, and people go through a lot of stuff.
People do.
And so, you know, I think that you always have to. In life, and I'm not just talking about addiction, but that's why I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Is that the self-evaluation has to be there, and you don't have to be hard on yourself, but you have to be realistic with yourself.
Yeah, you do.
And you're like, if I want to stay where I'm at,
right,
or even better than where I'm at, I've got to power through this.
Yeah.
And I can call someone.
Yes.
I can talk to someone. I've got people there for me, and some people don't have that. And
they don't.
That's I think that's what we need to be.
Yes.
Is a lighthouse, really.
Right.
For someone who's drowning. Like, right. I mean, and we're not freaking doctors.
No, we're not.
And we're not claiming to be, but we're people who care and people who've been through this. So hopefully that will translate to the audience. You know.
Actually, Ryan, I had this idea. And I like I said, you just keep on giving me these freaking cues. It's like, oh, okay, well, that's what I was thinking about today too. I don't know how this is going to work or not, but I thought about maybe getting the audience involved with our stuff. So, when we get this episode out there on YouTube or whatever, and they find a way to message us or contact us or something, they can send us questions and we'll answer them live on here, and keep their name anonymous.
I totally.
You like that idea?
I love that idea because I wanted to try to do that with that other little thing that I was doing.
Yeah.
And they're like, you can't do that because you have to film it, and then, but we could do that because we can get the questions ahead of time.
Yeah.
But it'd be awesome too. I mean, and that's down the line. But if we did like, say we just turned the mics on and did a live show one time.
We can do that
and,
with
and
this.
people could call in. You know.
This thing can do it.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
That's a great. I think that'd be amazing. They can ask questions and we'll get them, and then we'll just kind of answer them, and then the best. We're not doctors, but we know a little bit.
And we can try to. I mean, like I think that as this goes on, and we know enough people that can help them if they need help.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. We can give them a hope.
I mean, we can be the cheerleaders. We can say we've been through this. We can say, hey, you know, it's a struggle.
Right.
Call me. If you need to do this. If you need to, you know, if you're close, I'll come there. Whatever.
Right. Exactly.
But then we can move it further if it's someone who's like, I'm at the end of my rope. I don't know what to do.
I don't know what to
we'd be like, well, here's this. Here's a number to call. Just call. You know, there's no shame in that. Just do it, man.
Yeah, get into a rehab if we can. Maybe a rehab can sponsor us or something, and we can just have a direct line to a good rehab.
That'd be wonderful. And I think that if we can grow this the way that we want, I think that we can do things like that.
I think we could.
And I just think that, you know, I mean, we're about recovery, and we're about the fun that ensues as the time goes on. But you've got to, you know, you can't have that joy without that pain.
Exactly.
So you have to have that pain, in order to see what the joy is that can bring out. I mean, there's people, like I said earlier, you know, it boggles my mind that someone says, "I've never tasted alcohol before in my life." And I go, I used to be like, how?
Yeah, exactly.
Explain that to me. After 15 years, you know what I say? I get it.
Yeah, exactly.
I get it because you never needed it.
Yeah, exactly.
I never needed it.
Yeah.
But I thought that I did.
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly. This podcast is going to be a little bit. I think it's not going to be one, and maybe
it's not a one-trick pony. We're gonna have. I think we want to show the joy that's in our life. We want to have fun. That's why we laugh. That's why that's what it's about. But we're also we're addicts, so we know what, like, we'll be there for you.
Exactly.
That's
we're going to be serious.
Important.
We're going to be a little bit funny. We're going to be a little bit humorous. We're going to be you know, but we do take this very seriously.
And we want to show that, like, life is, I don't want to say life is what you make. I guess that's a quote that everybody always says, but you can, and you don't have to make a life of, I'm going to be a millionaire and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Life can be, I love when I see my child's face light up when I give them, you know, just a hug.
Yeah,
you know?
Preach, man.
I love, like, when the season, I'm looking out the window and I can see leaves. When the seasons change. Like, there are so many things that, and like, I don't know if you get this way, but like, I'll take things in, like a deep breath, like. And I don't always do it because sometimes you lose sight of things, but you lose sight of the trees because of the forest. Like, things are really quotes. But they're good quotes, I guess. But
they're good. Yeah.
Like I think that in this journey, what this is, we're going to show that, like, once you get over that hump, there's you'll find joy in so many things that you didn't really even think about before. You took it for granted, you know, and then it keeps getting better and better. And, like, I mean, you know, when you have,
that's what we want to show you.
Like with your daughter, and you say, oh my gosh, this little person is, it's like my world is just, it's not about me anymore. It's about them. And so, like there's so many things that, and you're like, there's a reason that I got better.
Exactly.
So that they can be better. And if you can break that, like in my case, like I know, like, my daughter never saw us ever drink, and my daughter doesn't drink. Like, I know that she doesn't. I mean, parents are like, but I know because she's been in situations and she's told us. You know? And
that's
like,
amazing.
Which is, I mean, like, and that's like, I say, like, one of the traits of ADHD is and I'm not saying that she has that, but I think she might have a little bit,
touch.
a little touch. But you tell too much,
right?
And it's not like I tell you too much because, and then there is a connection between people, like we have this connection today,
right.
But I think that sometimes you tell too much because you just tell too much. It's like dumping. I'm going to do. I'm going to do. Like it's time to like a computer dump. Like or a camera dump. I'm dumping everything. And she has that where she'll tell. I'm like, man, you're right. We were really honest.
Right.
Like, and that's great.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I mean, I can't about a thief or a liar. Like I hate those.
Right.
Hate's a strong word. I couldn't. But I don't like. I can't abide that. I just don't like it. And so she's told us things, and we're like, oh my gosh. Like I'm like, I'll say to my wife, I'm like, she's too honest, but she's just never seen that, and she doesn't want to. Like she's been at weddings, and she's like, I mean, you know, and she's like, no, I don't want to try it, because like her cousins be like, oh, this is really good. She's like, no, and
I'm good.
And so she knows, like, she knows what comes through the family history, and so
she's educated.
Yeah, she's educated, and it wasn't something that I pounded in her head or anything.
Right.
You know, I mean, it was, but she never saw me when she was real young. I mean, of course, I had that camera and stuff, but she didn't. You know,
Right.
It wasn't something that was sticking in her. But yeah, so anyway,
dude, that's amazing, dude.
Yeah, so
that's something you gotta be proud of.
Right, and I mean, like, and that's why I'm proud of you, because that story that you just said, that step was like, I mean, it was about you and it was about everyone else, but. Right. It was totally encompassing, right?
Right.
Like
right.
it wasn't like, I'm not gonna do this because I don't want my mom to see me like this.
Right,
or
right.
I don't want, but it was ultimately it boils down to I want to be better for all of them.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly.
I mean I'm putting words in your mouth, but I'm just saying that's how I feel. Is like I want to be better, and I just want to be better.
Yeah,
and that doesn't have to be about addiction or anything else. I want to be better. Every day I want to be better. I want to be better. And there's days when you can't be. There's days when you're like, I'm like, I mean, I get road rage horrible, dude.
Oh,
I'm
I
want to kill someone. Right. I shouldn't say that, but you know, but I like you get enraged, and then you sit back and you go, really,
right?
Like, can't you just take a deep breath?
And just chill.
My wife will always say, like, I'm like, what's this dude doing? And she's like, maybe he has to poop.
Maybe he has to poop.
You know, like, and I'm like, well, because he's speeding somewhere, you know. But I get really worked up, and I'm trying to but I was on the road all the time in sales, so I saw people. Like, I wasn't worried about how I drove.
Right.
I was worried about everybody else. But in turn, like, you don't think that. Just take a chill pill. Like,
yeah.
That's not bad. That's a bad thing to say.
Well,
just take it.
That's how I need to be.
Just chill out. Like just take. But you like just back to that. I think that you're like, I just want to be better.
Right. Exactly.
And in every part of my life, I want to be better if I can.
Right.
And we're humans, so that's hard to do, dude.
Yeah,
that's really hard to do. And
we're not going to be perfect.
Right. And I think that's why it's so great that I'm so glad that you did ask me to do this, because I think that it's something. I think that people need to see.
Yes.
That we're all human.
Oh, absolutely.
And you know, like there's no one. You show me a perfect person, and we'll have to put that at the circus or at the Big Ten at the fair, because I ain't never seen one my whole life. You know what I mean?
I mean, we could try to make this podcast as perfect as possible, but it's not
that ain't gonna happen either.
No. I don't want to.
No, it needs to be.
We're going to mess up. We're going to get off track.
Well, the greatest thing about this, and it's a continuation of how we've talked on the phone,
right? And
the fact that we hadn't met each other until this moment when we sat down and opened these mics up.
Yeah.
But we knew each other.
Yeah.
But now we like it's that's how I think that, and I told you this, but I think that that the honesty.
Yeah,
it shows through.
Yeah,
you're trying to, and it's just like, okay. Well, let me play devil's advocate here.
Oh, here
you could have said, oh, like, no, I shouldn't say this, but I think you understand what I'm saying.
Oh,
you could have, and by the grace of God, thank God you didn't. But you could have relapsed and said to them, I didn't know. I took what you said to do.
Yeah.
And you could have lied your way through it because damn if we're not good at doing that. You can do that.
Dude, we're perfect
you can
at
be
it.
like, oh. Now it was hard for me because I was like alcohol. I was like, I can't give it. But no, like I mean, addicts are good at like when you're in the thick of that.
Right.
I mean, you know, like, and we know people. We've never gotten that far as far as conversations, but
Right.
I've known some folks in my life that, you know, were using heroin, and
Right.
and nothing was safe to be in your house.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, and it wasn't the same
yeah.
person. It wasn't same. It wasn't them. Like I said, I can't buy a thief or a liar.
Right.
But it wasn't them that was doing it. It was the drug that was doing it.
Exactly.
And so
it hijacks you.
Right. And so like you can't. That's a tricky thing, and I think that as this goes on, I think we'll discuss it, because I know we're trying to wrap this up, but we just get into these conversations and it's hard to
Yeah, it's
stop.
hard. Yeah.
But I think that as this goes on, I think that we're gonna see that, you know, when like, because we're sober,
Right.
and we can't do that anymore, doesn't mean that like we're like this like leper that
Right,
you can't like, people get strange about that.
Absolutely.
And that's not on, I don't even know if that's all on them. It could be on you, because in the beginning
Right.
you're like,
Yeah. Exactly. Whoa.
no, you stay away from me. But and rightfully so, because you're trying to get right so that
Exactly.
you can be right.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
that's I mean, that's the only way that I can. I don't know if that's proper grammar, but
that's
yeah.
perfect. That's really
You're just trying to
perfect.
get right so you can be right. So, if like, so in the beginning, I know with me, I was like,
Right.
no, I'm not going to be right. But then I got to the point where I was like, hey, I don't drink, but you guys, you're welcome to bring beer,
Yeah,
or whatever.
exactly.
Sit by the campfire, do whatever. That's cool, you know.
I'm just not
but
going to do it.
I'm just not going to do it.
Right.
And then, like, you know, I'm like, I'm going to get into another story, and I should.
You're good.
But no, like I even went to like a concert. Like it was just like, it was funny. It's like it was a concert that was like a tribute band thing, and I'm not going to go deep into it. But afterwards, the people that I were with, they're like, hey, you know, everyone wants to meet at this bar. You're going to be cool with that? And they're like, we're just going to get like something to eat. They got pizza, but they want to just hang out and have drinks. And I'm like, I'm good. I'm cool.
Right. Exactly.
You know?
And that's
and
really good.
I drank water, you know.
Right.
I'm like, and I'll have a pop or whatever, but like, it's not something that I want. But I was saying, I could have never done that before.
No.
It
took practice.
Yeah, I'd be like, well, just one shot.
Yeah. What won't hurt? Yeah. Shit.
I don't know, and you know,
Yeah.
and you get to a point too, where you think, and I would never ever, but you think, I wonder,
Right.
but you can't.
Your brain starts thinking
'cause
for you.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like, all right, well, I'm talked into it now. Now there's no going back.
Yeah.
You plant that little seed, and it's like, oh shit,
Right.
I'm going to do it.
And then, you know, the regret that you have if you do that. It's sickening.
it's astonishing, man.
It's
It carries
and,
over for days.
Yeah, and you know, like, I don't know. I mean, I think every human wants to be proud of themselves in some way or another.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know? I think so.
They
I mean, you know,
celebrate.
I think I took a self-paced psychology class whenever I was at OU. My pace was I wasn't going to show up until the last test. And I was at a party one time, and they're like the TA or whatever. She was like, "Hey, I know you," and I just done it like a beer bong off the roof, you know. And I was like, and she was at the party because she's, you know, the student teacher or whatever.
Yeah, they're on a party too.
And she goes, she's like, you're in my, I went, self-paced philosophy. She goes, yeah. She's like, and if you don't show up sooner or later, I was like, I'm gonna fail.
Yeah.
And she went, yeah, you're gonna fail. And
You
so,
knew it.
yeah, and I'm
You knew it.
like, my philosophy is that I think that I could get it all done at one time, but that's not really a reality. And then I got it incomplete, and then my dad was very unhappy about that.
Oh, I've done that too.
Yeah.
I've done that too, man.
Yeah.
Showed up at the last second, and I'm gonna ace the task.
Right. So, because I mean, you know, I think that I don't know if it's, and it's not because like with age comes, you know,
Right.
maturity. I think it's just to live longer and you see more things and you go, oh, well, that's dumb. Like you shouldn't do that. But I think that there's certain parts of the time when you're like, well, I can do this. I can take responsibility. I can do this.
Right.
And sometimes, and I'm always big on, and I can tell from when you set all this up and you do all this stuff, you're not that guy that's like, I want help.
Right.
Because I'm that guy. I'm like, I can do it all myself, but I can't do it all myself.
No, absolutely not.
Like when, I'm like, how can I figure out how to, like with my other things I'm doing, right?
Right.
And I told you, I said I might need your help, which is a big step for me, because I'm like, because I'm going to do this like big Christmas show. So if I do this big Christmas show, I'm going to need someone, not just my phone sitting there, because there might be a guest. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And so I'm going to need someone with a mind for technology.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, so
I'm the man.
But yeah, no, and I think that there's hurdles there too, where you like I think I can do this all on my own, but
you can't.
But you can't.
No, I thought that the same way too.
And I think that's a hurdle that you get over too.
Yeah.
Once you figure out you can't do it all on your own, then it's better.
Right. It's better. It's a better life. Once you start asking for help, it gets a lot smoother. And as I had learned the same damn thing. It's a hard.
Well, and I mean,
pill
look,
to swallow.
You had in waiting in the wings. You had that support.
Yeah.
But you went there, and we can wrap it up. But you went there, and they were like, I can't believe that you tried to do this on your own.
Right. Exactly.
But and you knew right then. Oh shit! I shouldn't have done it this way.
I messed up. Yeah.
But you held up your end and said, I'm not going to do anything that's going to compromise what I've worked to get to at this point.
Exactly, yeah.
So it's like I always think, here's what I always like, this is Halloween analogy, but I always think this about myself, and you can use this at any time you want.
I will.
But I always thought like I was like a werewolf, right?
Okay.
So like if you ever watch the old werewolf movies, like the dude knows that he's going to be a werewolf, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like he's like, you have to chain me up.
Yeah, exactly.
Chain me up in the freaking cellar, so that I don't go out and freaking do werewolf stuff. You know?
Exactly.
And like that's how it was whenever I was drinking. I'm like, if you don't chain me up, I'm gonna go out there and howl.
Yeah,
you know?
oh boy.
Pun intended.
Yeah.
But anyway,
that.
no, but I'm going to. I'm going to go out there and be a freaking werewolf, because I'm a werewolf. You know?
Absolutely. I don't know what else to do.
And so, like, I mean, I'm not trivializing it, but it's that. It's like
exactly.
I know that I have this.
Yeah.
And
we know we have it.
Yeah. And how? If you don't chain me up, how am I going to stop it?
Exactly.
I'm going to chain myself up.
Yep.
And I'm going to chain myself up with
help,
with self-help, with going through steps, going through the proper channels that people tell you to do, and you don't do it.
Proper tools.
Yeah. It's
whatever you
do to get through it, and then that next time, it's like shaving off. It's like whittling a stick, like the old timers used to do. The next time it's a little bit easier, because you're taking that top layer of bark off, and that's like
you're the hard
you're
part.
dulling the knife. But then once you get that, and you're like, ooh, that's a nice piece of pine. It's soft. I'm gonna keep it going.
Absolutely. Then it keeps on getting easier and easier, and then
I can tell how old I am, because I'm starting to say all these little sayings. You should be sitting in a rocking chair. I should be on a rocking chair with like a pipe. And then when you do this,
that's going to be you one of these days with the old pipe.
I'll be sitting with a pipe. I'll be on that back porch back there, sitting down there with a rocking chair going, hey, in my day, those kids didn't have a school that big.
Back here, what the hell are you doing, Ryan?
You kids get off my lawn.
Oh, shit. All right, well, we'll wrap this baby up, but hey, this is the first one out of many. So
and it's been wonderful. I think that it's. I mean, we're both long-winded. I'm more long-winded. I admit that. I'm a very long-winded person.
Hey, we need it.
I think that. I just think that. I think that we have something that we can build on for sure, because you can always build on things.
Yes.
But there's a natural. We have that. We know because we've been there.
Exactly.
And so we're like, we're not judging anyone.
No, absolutely not.
And we're not judging each other either. So we can say funny things, we can do whatever. But I think that we've accomplished one of the small goals today.
Exactly.
And just like just like this, there's steps.
Yep.
We'll
Just keep building.
building, and we'll get to that ultimate goal. And you know, I mean, and beyond.
Yeah,
Is there an ultimate
absolutely.
goal? I don't know. But the ultimate goal is that to help anyone that we can help.
Exactly.
And at the same time, continue helping ourselves.
Exactly.
Right?
This
To be
helps
better.
us out more than anybody
Right.
else.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's. I think it's a great outlet to do that.
Right.
I mean, I didn't have an outlet like that when I was like, I'm gonna get some chocolate.
Right.
I'm gonna get a bunch of chocolate.
Exactly.
You know, like
Right,
but, I
yeah.
mean, like it's. I just think that we care.
Oh,
And,
definitely.
And that's
yes.
I
That's
just I
huge.
mean, I'm not doing this, but
Right.
or
We-
to
yeah,
you, but
yeah, we care.
I mean, it's sincere, and so that's what we're here for. We're trying to help.
We're just
We're trying to
help.
help, and not just addiction,
No.
everyday life.
Everyday life, yeah.
We're living.
yeah.
That's what
we're living,
We're
baby.
living. Yep.
We're living in sobriety.
Yep. Life
Life. Baby.
after the party.
That's right. You're the man.
You're the man. All right.
All right.
Till
guys.
next time.
Till next time, ladies and gentlemen.